Super Smash Bros. Is one of the most prolific crossovers in history, a series filled to the brim with gaming icons from Nintendo's and even other developers' top franchises. From Super Mario to Bayonetta and everything in between, character recognizability is one of the main reasons the series has been so wildly popular. But there's another reason why Smash is such a success. It's art. Character models, stages, music, and most recently, cinematics, are all masterfully crafted by the best in the industry, not only emphasizing the series' fluidity and action, but also accurately translating characters and worlds from a variety of gaming universes to the same battlefield. And perhaps this is most evident in each game's character artwork, which are often able to fully encapsulate a character's personality and even fighting style in a single render. The careful precision in creating these is at a level only Nintendo's artists can reach, with many characters receiving additional details that contribute to Smash's elaborate nature, without obstructing what made them so special in the first place. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch is shaping up to achieve that almost impossible standard. Promotional artwork for the game is nothing short of superb, with renders capturing each character's essence both in Ultimate and their respective franchises. It is truly a miracle to see so many iconic characters receive this special Nintendo treatment. That being said, what the fuck happened to Mario? Ever since the game was announced, something about Mario's render always bothered me. It always seemed like the rotten apple in Ultimate's delicious fruit salad of character art, but I couldn't exactly pinpoint why. I mean, from a technical standpoint, there isn't exactly much wrong with him. The shine on his buttons and the denim of his overalls seem almost perfect, and the texturing work on his shoes just make you scream, boy, Mario's wearing shoes alright! But I eventually realized that it wasn't necessarily the artwork bothering me, it was Mario himself. To understand Mario's artwork in Ultimate, we have to understand Mario the character. I recently saw another video covering a similar topic called How to Animate a Smash Bros. Character by Newframe Plus, so if this kind of stuff is up your alley, I definitely recommend you check it out. Anyway, what better place to establish Mario's character than in his own games and— oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, Mario's simply in way too many games to really examine all of them, so I'm just going to focus on the mainline Super Mario games, starting from the original Super Mario Bros., but perhaps focusing more on the recent entries such as 2017's Super Mario Odyssey. When you think of Mario, the first thing you might think of is joy, and that's because Mario is purely fun. His voice, his jumps, even his little plumber stumpiness scream nothing but cartoony euphoria. This is only further through his insane acrobatic abilities, as he's able to jump, flip, and spin through more situations than a 5-year-old on a sugar rush. Mario is also not afraid to show when he's happy. Whether he's just cleared a course or nabbed an elusive power star, he takes the player's sense of accomplishment and amplifies it to the max with a fist in the air and an exuberant cheer. This, of course, has been an instrumental part to Mario's character from the beginning. Nintendo has stated that, besides being fun, Mario purposely lacks defining character traits, so that he's more of a reflection of the player than anything else. Sure, you can point out some other things about Mario, such as his willingness to help others or his interactions with his colorful cast of cohorts, but you'll mostly find that they just serve to strengthen his good-natured, joyous self. However, we can't overlook the other crucial part of his character. Mario is not only a cheerful hero, but a determined one. Princess Peach being captured might be a bad case of going through the motions for us, but for Mario, every kidnapping is a serious situation. Take the opening to Super Mario Galaxy for instance, where, even after a UFO scoops Peach's castle into space, he only remains steadfast in getting to her. Or how about Super Mario Odyssey, which starts with Mario already duking it out with Bowser, and a combination of clever camera angles, fluid movements, and new facial animation for Mario ultimately raise the stakes and show how resolute he is in rescuing the princess. Little moments like these are littered throughout a variety of games, and as Mario and Nintendo's technology have evolved, so has his persistence. It then becomes clear that Mario is determined in his destination but joyful in his journey. A happy-go-lucky guy who will stop at nothing to right whatever wrong is done to the Mushroom Kingdom. When bringing Mario over to the Smash universe then, it makes sense to focus more on his determined side, so that he fits in better with the dramatic atmosphere of the franchise. In these games, every character's motivation is simply to fight. Some fulfill this gracefully, some fulfill this awkwardly, and some barely fulfill it at all. As shown in his own games, Mario fights with perseverance, unafraid to stand his own ground against whoever his opponent may be. It only makes sense that the Smash games emphasize this. That's not to say he isn't joyful at all. His in-game animations still bring out the bouncy hops and bops that make Mario Mario, and everything he does has a bit of cartoonish flair to make him pop. Before we dig into his ultimate render, it might be helpful to reflect on how previous Smash titles have represented Mario. Honestly, there's not really much to say about this one. It harkens back to a day when Mario's thing was a peace sign, but other than that, it's pretty much just standard 2D artwork. It's definitely clean and crisp, and very different from its successors. It looks nice enough, I suppose. It's decent stuff. Melee established a lot of standards for the franchise, and one of them happened to be 3D renders for each fighter. Out of all the Smash games, this might be the most classic Mario has ever looked, even if he still has that janky pre-GameCube design. This render definitely puts an emphasis on his happy side, with his signature bright smile and leap taking center stage here. Mario's most iconic move is undoubtedly his jump, so capitalizing on that for his artwork is practically inevitable. It also has a decent amount of detail for a GameCube era render, with slight texturing in his overalls and even his eyes. Very solid artwork. Oh god. You know, when I was younger, I thought this Mario render and Brawl overall looked really cool. Like, wow, everything is so much darker and more realistic than usual. But now it's just like, wow, everything is so much darker and more realistic than usual. While not my favorite render from the Smash games, I have to give it a lot of credit for perfectly capturing Brawl's atmosphere of a more serious Nintendo game. And I can definitely see why Mario of all characters would be representing this. He's got a slight smile, which reminds me how friendly he is, but his dramatic pose, undersaturated colors, and that denim texturing all tell me how this time, fighters are settling some serious business. Even if, you know, the actual fighting in Brawl wasn't exactly up to snuff. Overall, a pretty good render, but I think it represents the game better than it represents Mario himself. With Super Smash Bros. 4, many fighters were represented much more faithfully to their appearances in their original franchises, and we can no doubt see this in Mario's artwork. His colors simply pop, and while there's still attention to detail in his textures, it's not quite as in-your-face as Brawl's denim fetish, which rounds out his simpler appearance here. However, both Mario's pose and face show that he's not going down without a fight, an attitude I think is perfect for a Smash incarnation. While I can appreciate the joy seen in Melee's Mario, I feel Smash 4 really found his footing in the Smash universe. There are two versions of this artwork, one with fire and one without, and though this isn't exactly inspired by one of his specific moves, I still really like that fire effect, as it's probably one of his more iconic components, and good god, that is some great fire rendering! You can't really go wrong with either one though, and this is probably my favorite of Mario's Smash renders so far. Ugh. Look, I don't hate this render. It definitely isn't the most cursed piece of art put out by Nintendo, but come on! I have several complaints with this artwork, but I'll just go over the big ones. Out of Mario's entire moveset, I wouldn't exactly say his neutral air is his most recognizable move. Is it supposed to represent his jumping ability? If so, this shadow placement clearly indicates that he's short hopping at best, so I wouldn't say so. Does it represent Ultimate as a whole? I mean, I guess it could imply that Ultimate is more fast-paced and active than other entries, but even then I wouldn't consider Mario's neutral air, where he doesn't even move outside of this pose, the best representation of this. What about his up tilt? Or his down air? Or his forward smash? There are better options. In previous games, Mario's either looked happy or strong-minded, but here, he looks straight up malicious. I mean, look at how angry his eyebrows are. Why aren't they as curved as usual? Smash 4 did this too, but at least his mouth wasn't open, which only makes him look scarier here. I can't even tell if he's smiling. You know, I think it's how big his mouth is that freaks me out, like he's belting a battle cry or something. His face, combined with that pose, make him look like he's about to kick my door down and get revenge on me for getting his cat. This is even inconsistent with his in-game depiction, which seems to be putting more emphasis on his joyful side compared to the previous two games. Also, his tongue is too red. As my friend put it, Mario looks like a plastic doll with real clothes on. His clothing all has realistic texturing work and expert texturing work at that. But Mario lacks detail in one specific area, his hair. Look at that shit, it looks like Play-Doh. As Odyssey proved, Mario's hair is actually hair, so I see little excuse to keep this plasticky appearance, especially when most other Mario characters have hair. Look at Peach for example. I know this inconsistency was also present in Smash 4, but at least then, that similar inconsistency also appeared in the mainline Mario games. So that design choice could be seen as staying faithful to his appearances there. Additionally, the colors on Bowser and Peach match fairly well with their artwork from main Mario games, so compared to them, Mario just seems strangely undersaturated. I feel like even Bowser's slightly darker color palette makes sense considering it helps underscore his menacing appearance, but to give Mario that same treatment is just kinda nasty. And for the record, I also think Mario's in-game colors aren't bright enough. Now look, I'm not one to complain about something without presenting a possible solution. Keep in mind that I'm definitely not up to par with Nintendo's artists, and all I had to work with were pre-existing Mario artwork and GIMP. I can't even afford all that fancy Photoshop stuff all the youth are using these days. Allow me to show you the main changes I made to this art. I couldn't exactly do much about the pose itself, but I think I addressed most of the other issues I have with the original render. No more of that gritty stuff. Mario's here in his signature bright blue and red, and even his shoes, which were a bit too grayish brown for my liking, are now closer to the browns used in Odyssey's artwork. I personally think this highlights his joyful attitude much better, bringing him closer to his in-game animations. First of all, Mario's eyebrows have been adjusted to sport their arched form, making him look just a little friendlier than the Mario who would willingly shove you off a cliff. His mouth too is considerably smaller and more closely resembles a smile to ease that maliciousness off a bit. Lastly, his tongue isn't too red. Thank God, because that was what bothered me most about that render. Mario's hair has been spruced up with better texturing. Though not quite as detailed as his hair in Odyssey's artwork, it's more consistent with the level seen in the likes of Peach and Daisy. It also helps him appear more human, as it matches the details seen in his clothing more closely. While not perfect, I think this is the Mario I would have preferred to see from Ultimate's render. He looks more cheerful overall, much like his appearance in his own games as well as Ultimate itself. And while I'm still not a fan of his pose being his neutral air, I think it's offset better by his happier demeanor and brighter colors. I still think his original Ultimate render is good enough, but compared to other characters, Mario's just felt the most inappropriate. However, I still encourage you to go look through them, as well as the hand-painted artworks, as they all are truly a testament to Nintendo's artistic ability. Thank you for watching me complain about Mario artwork. I hope you enjoyed it, and well, if you didn't, you're not getting those 12 minutes back. But you know what you can get, is this.